Hi, I'm Megan. Welcome to today's live reading of Saint Khan by Seelie Kay, presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Join me. Chapter 1. Promises, Promises. Oh, shit. Totally oblivious to her surroundings, Jessica Knight exited the wine bar restroom and slammed into a large immobile object. Quickly, she stepped back and gazed up at said object. It took everything within her to squelch a gasp. The man blocking her path was the classic bad boy. Tatted arms, wild dark brown hair, a devil-may-care smirk, and intense blue eyes that were so fierce she was sure he could see into her soul. Damn it, he was hot. The man studied her and chuckled. He reached down, removed the tube of lip gloss she still held in her hand, and pocketed it. I've made a mess of your mouth. He shrugged, then leaned down and kissed her. Hell, you're going to have to fix it anyway. Though brief, the kiss sent butterflies ping-ponging through her stomach. Jessica's hand flew up to her lips, and she stared at him dumbly. Uh-huh. Normally, her response would have been outrage. Seriously, a stranger did not just walk up to a woman and steal a kiss. That bordered on sexual assault. Yet this man had struck her dumb. Jessica was a respectable lawyer. She'd put herself through law school, working 3 jobs and surviving on apples, blue box macaroni, and tomato soup. She had worked hard and continued to do so, never once crossing the line into the dark side. Until now. She was a classic good girl. She learned the ways of the world at the feet of nuns in an all-girls school. Actually, it was rather surprising she hadn't joined a convent. When she was 14, she had declared that intention. It was more out of fascination with the cafeteria food at her gradient's order than anything. But she had discovered boys shortly thereafter and shifted gears. Still, her religious training stuck, and it influenced every decision she made. She didn't take unnecessary chances. She always played it safe, especially with men. She knew to stay away from men who were unbearably handsome, kissed like a seductive rock star, and were a member of some biker gang. Jessica stared at the man. He was all wrong for her. It didn't matter that a single kiss had her yearning for more, or that she wanted to crawl up this man like a monkey. He was just wrong for her. Step back, Jess. This guy is trouble. Jessica turned to move away, but he stopped her. You're not running away after that, doll. You and me, we've got business to attend to. I know it. You know it. Capiche? He grinned and leaned down to kiss her again. Jessica fought the heat racing through her, the electric current melting her resolve and making her lady bits dance. This man kissed with expertise, igniting a passion previously unknown to her. Again, she pulled back and stared at him. Her lips felt as if they had been seared with a branding iron. She slowly shook her head. No, this is not happening. I'm not in the habit of kissing complete strangers. The man grinned, his gorgeous blue eyes taking on a twinkle. When you know, doll, you know. And I know that you and I belong together. When I saw you across the room, my heart lit up, and I knew we had to meet. And now, with a single kiss, I know we belong together. I know you feel it too, but your brain hasn't caught up yet. Give it time. It will. Jessica pinched her arm. Surely this was some sort of dream, a baffling, mad dream, born of too many rom-com flicks and lonely nights spent consuming steamy romance books. This shit didn't happen in real life. Jessica didn't have time for a tumble between the sheets with an extremely handsome stud muffin. At least not when she was busting her ass to become professionally and financially solvent. Her rigid path made no allowance for a one-night stand, much less romance. She stiffened her spine and glared at the alpha before her. She motioned between the two of them. You've got the wrong girl. I don't do one-night stands, and I don't have time for anything else. She scowled. You're nothing more than a horny predator who stepped into my path assuming I was easy prey. She tossed her hair over her shoulder and planted her hands on her hips. Don't let this angelic facade fool you. I may look like a blonde, green-eyed nymph with a body for sin, but inside I'm a lethal paragon of justice with claws that leave scars. So step aside, hot stuff. I want to get back to my drink. The biker laughed and cocked an untamed eyebrow. You did not just call yourself a lethal paragon of justice. My God, I thought I left elbows behind in law school. He continued to chuckle. Arrogant much? Jessica felt her hackles rise. You're a lawyer? No way. You're just too scruffy. Her eyes swept the man's muscular body. Oh my. The sexy smirk was back. Let me tell you a secret, doll. Prior to law school, I was on my way to becoming a priest. No way, she repeated. Yeah, after a few years, I was advised that I was too independent and too liberal to serve the church. They also expressed doubt at my ability to live a celibate life. He shrugged. That happened after I informed a certain instructor that I didn't swing that way. Jessica gaped. She must be dreaming. Her friends often joked that her perfect mate was a priest. This guy must be a figment of her imagination. You need to learn to not judge a book by its cover, doll, as I didn't judge you. He fingered her hair. These blonde curls scream angelic, but your eyes scream warrior princess. And doll, I love a woman who breathes fire. Jessica abruptly shook herself. Now I know I'm dreaming. This is too fucking irrational to be real. She closed her eyes and mumbled, Wake up, damn it. This isn't real. I'm just in a deep sleep caused by too much work and too little downtime. The hunk touched her hand and her eyes flew open. God, his very touch sent a thunderbolt of heat to her core. Let me introduce myself, doll. I'm Connor O'Brien. And you are? She gazed at him. Jessica Knight, also a lawyer and a former almost nun. She grinned. Jessica couldn't help it. She was dazzled by this man, and even she could admit it. Connor smiled. You're my future, doll. I know it. We have a bright, exciting, sensual future ahead of us. He took her hand and led her to the bar. Let's drink to that. Jessica attempted to pull away from him, but he was not surrendering her hand, refusing to let it go. What the hell was wrong with her? Unwanted touching usually earned a kick to the groin. Why was she giving in, and so easily? Connor picked Jessica up off her feet and settled her onto a stool. Her best friend, Sadie English, who had been waiting for her return, giggled. I've heard about catching diseases from public toilets, but I've never heard about catching a man. A sly expression crossed her sweet face, and she extended her hand to Connor. Hello, I'm Sadie. What apple cart did you fall off of? She tossed her head of burgundy pink-tipped curls, and her stylishly trimmed eyebrows pinched up over curious brown eyes. Excuse me. Connor rolled his eyes as he took the stool next to Jessica. Name's Con. He shook her hand. Both lawyers? Sadie burst out laughing. Hell no, I enjoy my life. You won't find me trapped in some windowless office working 60 hours a week. I'm into bagels. She pointed at the t-shirt she was wearing, bearing the words, bagels are my everything. Con made a face. Bagels? Sadie grinned. My family owns bagels and more. We make 20 kinds of bagels daily. Jessica nodded. Not just bagels, but bagel witches and bagel cakes and stuffed bagels. My favorite is the egg in the bagel hole. Connor studied Sadie. I think I know your father. Tall, thin, gray hair, name of Jeb. Sadie stared at him. How the heck do you know my father? I've never seen you in the store, and believe me, I'd remember. St. Ben's Social Justice Committee. I'm the chair. Sadie's jaw dropped. You're the guy with the Traveling Justice Center? The guy who got kicked out of the seminary and became a lawyer? Or, as your father claims, got dumped into the devil's lair. Sadie bounced up and down on her stool, her eyes wide with excitement. My God, I can't believe it. She grabbed onto Jessica to steady herself. Jess, this is the guy I told you about. He travels around Milwaukee County offering legal services to the unhoused in an old food truck. She bounced again. And you have a motorcycle. You're a biker. Not that kind of biker, but a member of God's warriors. You guys are amazing. You do so much good, but in secret. Sadie pounded on Jessica's back. I can't believe he's that guy. Jessica's eyes narrowed and she stared at Con. She's kidding, right? You're not Saint Con. She shook her head in disbelief. Even she had heard of that guy. She nudged Sadie. Trust me, he's no saint. He hit on me. Con chortled. What, you think you have to be celibate to be a saint? Sadie snorted. Not looking like you. She made a sweeping motion with her hand. This man is certainly a gift from God, and a gift to all women. Even God wouldn't waste all of this perfection on celibacy. Jessica buried her head in her hands and moaned. Time to cut you off, girl. All that tequila has turned you into a gushing, simpering fool. Sadie hit her on the shoulder. Better than a dried up old spinster lawyer, she winked at Con. Her girly parts have cobwebs. Jessica's head shot up in horror. She gasped and slapped Sadie's arms. You did not just say that. She grabbed Sadie's drink and moved it to the end of the bar. You're done. Con nudged her and winked. No worries. I know how to remove cobwebs. Jessica flushed. Well, why should I care? It's not like you're going to remove my cobwebs. She sank onto her stool, too embarrassed to look at the man. Con erupted with laughter. Gotta love a woman who can still blush. He placed a finger under her chin and tilted her head up and then moved in for another kiss. Doll, I promise I'll be gentle. He slid an arm around Jessica's shoulder. Now tell me, where do you work? Downtown. Sadie made a face. At Brisby and Sutton, that stuffy old firm that handles the estates of Milwaukee's rich and famous. You know, the snobs with trust funds and money to burn. The kind of stuff that's so boring it paralyzes the brain. Con smiled at Sadie. Why do I think you're the devil on this woman's shoulder? Sadie laughed. Because without me, Jess would live in a dusty old house, clothed in a decomposing wedding dress, bemoaning her lost youth. Con cocked an eyebrow. Are you sure you're into bagels? You should write sitcoms. You certainly have the patter for it. He grinned. This gorgeous woman is no Miss Havisham. Besides, from where I sit, bagels are just as boring as trusts and estates. Sadie frowned. Bagels are not boring. They are a gift that keeps on giving. I defy you to find one person who doesn't like bagels. Jess made a face. I imagine there are thousands, maybe millions, who abstain. That's why they don't come into your dad's store. Ladies, let's not argue. He gently eased Jessica onto his lap and kissed her again. He handed her his phone. Put your number in there so I can text you the details of our first date. Jessica shifted uncomfortably on his lap. She shook her head. Are you always this aggressive? You're behaving like I have no choice. I don't even know if I like you, much less want to date you. She stared at him defiantly. Con tried to hide his amusement, but failed. Once again, he brought her lips to his and kissed her. Deeply, thoroughly, skillfully. When he finally pulled away, Jessica blinked, trying to clear the chaos in her head. Every single part of her body was on fire. She was clear past the point of no return. She didn't believe in love at first sight, or insta-love, as her friends called it. But Jessica knew the very depths of her soul that this man was her destiny. She wanted to drag him back to her house, rip off his clothes, and make love in every room, maybe even twice. Sadie cleared her throat. Jess, give him your number. I've got to be at the shop by 5 a.m. It's time to leave. She winked at Con. Sorry, but I'm driving. Jessica gazed at Sadie, and then she gazed at Con. Her lips trembled. Tears misted her eyes. Suddenly, the thought of leaving this man was devastating. She had never had a one-night stand, but tonight that was clearly off the table. She didn't care about the risks or the possibility she would never see this man again. All Jessica knew was that if she let him go now, she would regret it for the rest of her life. As if sensing her indecision, Con lifted Jessica off his lap and set her on her feet. He turned to Sadie. If you don't mind, I'll take Jess home. Sadie gaped. Jess, are you sure? This is not like you. I mean, are you drunk or something? You just met this guy tonight. You don't do this kind of thing. What if... Con pulled out his wallet and opened it to display his driver's license. You already know who I am through your father. I can assure you that I'm not in the habit of picking up women in bars. I just want to spend more time with Jess, so there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. In case you haven't noticed, there's something going on between us, and I'm not about to walk away from that. He slid one arm around Jess. She will come to no harm, I promise you. But just in case I turn out to be a psycho, take a picture of my driver's license. He set his wallet on the bar for Sadie. On the flip side, we're consenting adults. And whatever happens is between us. Jessica nodded. I'll be fine, Sadie. Just follow our protocol for first dates and don't go overboard. Text in 2 hours, and if I don't respond, call. You know the drill. She nudged her. I'll be fine. Sadie sniffed. This is so bizarre. I want to protect my best friend, but I also want this to be real. She deserves this. Connor kissed Jessica's cheek. And so do I.